Kamala Harris's campaign honeymoon may be coming to an end. Democrat enthusiasm is starting to fizzle out, and the attacks are ramping up. And strategists are warning the VP to brace for impact.
Republicans are going to try to introduce her on their terms. I don't blame them. I'd do the same thing. And she's going to have to get good fast. That's all I can say. And I'm not very giddy about this. I'm not cocky at all. I think we have a tough election ahead of us. She's going to get slaughtered. They're coming out. They're coming. And this is just part of no different than it was any other time.
The Trump campaign already hammering Kamala's failures at the southern border with this new ad in key swing states.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Kamala Harris failed, weak, dangerously liberal.
And Donald Trump himself says taking on Harris will be a piece of cake.
I would rather run against her than him. I think she's easier than he is because he had a certain. I always felt he was
Scranton Joe.
I always felt he was incompetent, but he had a certain base, and no matter how bad he was, people were going to vote for him. She doesn't have that base.
Those attacks not sitting well with the liberal media. The New York Times wants the best of both worlds when it comes to digging up dirt on candidates, complaining that Kamala can't seem to shake her progressive past, all the while keeping J.D. Vance under a microscope. Others in the media would rather just move on from Kamala's radical record.
We don't have to focus on the history of who Kamala Harris is. We don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about these specific things. We have to tell people what she's going to do for them.
I also know it was pretty long ago. Before that, since then, we've had an entire administration that people have had a chance to see her work.
All right, Jesse, isn't it ironic coming from the left, coming from the people whose only focus is January 6th and Russia collusion, that they don't want to focus on Kamala's past?
No, but we will. Kamala's got that new car smell, but Judge, it's still a Honda Civic. And that'll wear off as Trump exposes her for what she is. She is a San Francisco extremist. And you already see him dissecting her. Apparently, she wants convicted murderers to vote, and she wants taxpayers to pay for sex change surgeries for prison inmates. She wants slavery reparations, which I personally support, being 1% black. But if you look at her entire record, did I just inflate my black heritage? I'm sorry.
Well, you just inflated my anger.
0.1%. 0.1.
She is for abolishing ICE. She's for decriminalizing border crossings. She was for the Green New Deal, which I do believe wanted to tax flatulence. This woman is so nuts. Not only does she have to defend her own record, she has to defend the Biden-Harris record, which is even worse. They put her in charge of the border. Screwed that up. They put her in charge of the voting bill. Didn't get that passed. He sent her to Munich to warn Putin not to invade. 5 days later, he invades. I mean, she didn't invent the internet like Al Gore did, but she has not had the greatest tenure as vice president. And her entire career, she's had things handed to her. She wouldn't really run competitive races in California. That's a machine politics town. You just basically have to maneuver yourself up the ladder there. Anytime she's had any competition, she hasn't really done well. And you can't trust this woman because then all these positions she had 4 years ago, she said, oh, they're all lies. I was just lying. Never mind. And she hid Biden's condition for 4 years. So you can't trust her. She is a radical lunatic from San Francisco that the lobbyists are going to prey upon, the generals are going to control, and the media is just going to shower with praise. She's not a serious person, and everyone who's ever worked for her quit.
Yeah, you know, Jessica, what Jesse says is certainly accurate. But how does a politician?
I don't
wait.
Everyone
Let me finish with the question.
One thing he said wrong was 1% black. I want a test.
Yeah, but how does a politician who is less popular than Joe Biden suddenly become the savior of the Democrat Party?
Well, she's actually more popular than Joe Biden. She's more popular than Donald Trump.
And she's 2 weeks ago.
But she's the candidate now. It's different. This is a whole new race. Erase your priors of what you think is going on, because there are people who are genuinely excited about Kamala Harris, and then there are also people who would be happy with generic D, Remember, we've seen all of this polling over months where it's Donald Trump versus generic Democrat. And this was part of what people used to try to force Joe Biden out. They said a generic Democrat is running 8 to 10 points ahead of where Joe Biden is. And Kamala Harris has just begun. She's going to need to answer for these things. And I frankly think she should just get in front of it. Do a big interview and say, play me all the clips. Show me everything I said, and I will explain to you how I feel differently because I have governed for 4 years. I have been part of the Biden-Harris administration. This is why my mind has been changed about X policy relating to the border, Medicare for all. These are lofty ideals. In practice, progress is slow but certain, and you can only do little things. To the James Carville interview, and Carville does know what he's talking about. I mean, listening to these people who have actually won big campaigns, I think is smart. But I haven't seen anyone acting as if we're not the underdogs. Even with all of this polling that has her, she's up in the swing states now, she's within the margin of error or not ahead, or ahead in national polls. We know that this is a tough mountain to climb, but people are joyful about it now. Democrats feel inspired. And that can take us to November 5th and win us the election.
You know, Dana, she certainly has some momentum now, but when the honeymoon period is over, she's going to have to answer to questions like, why did you hide the decline of Joe Biden? Why did you come out and say he's the most energetic guy? I mean, that was a flat-out lie.
Jessica's got, I mean, if Kamala Harris were to do what Jessica just suggested, which is to do an interview and say, I'll sit here until you play all the clips and answer all of them, I would watch all of that, and I would be amazed if she did well. But if she, because right now, maybe she would do great, but right now, the positions have been reversed by staff members of hers who won't put their names on it, but they're basically just getting the media to write that she's reversing her position on fracking, on the mandatory gun buyback, on decriminalizing illegal border crossings, et cetera. So I do think it's interesting that the default position of her staff, perhaps at her direction, is to erase everything she's ever said or believed. But the point about her being complicit in the cover-up of Biden's health, it's interesting how much that is resonating. And I'm just paying attention to Democrats who are looking at this with a eye of like, wow, what are the vulnerabilities of Kamala Harris? Because she's on this, it reminds me of the honeymoons that the kings and queens used to go on for like 6 months. And they would go all over the world and it would last forever rather than like just a week-long honeymoon here. This is gonna be a while. She has 100 days. It's about the perfect amount of time for her, right? So she's the benefit of really good timing. I don't know if she will be able to get through the next 100 days with totally unscathed. And the ads that Dave McCormick put out using her own words against her, and then Trump followed up with another one today. The tapes exist. So if she were to answer all those, I would love it. I'm happy to do it on America's Newsroom.
You know, but the truth is, Tyrus, I mean, she is not going to separate herself from the Biden policy.
And she doesn't have to. Why are we doing this? I mean, we listened to dear, sweet, my African brother, Jesse over there, lay it out for us so well, but there is no honeymoon. Okay, let's stop with the honeymoon talk. The left media is saying it's a honeymoon. If this is a honeymoon, it's like prima nocta, okay, to the American people. Look it up, Jesse. But it's outrageous. There's no integrity in this. It doesn't matter because Trump is not running against Kamala. He's not running against Biden. He's running against Trump. That's all this is about. Trump has to beat Trump. He has to have moments where he untrumps himself. He's got to pull back. Calling her names, they want that. They want the bloodbath. They want him to come out there because guess what? We'll all be laughing and we'll be hashtagging, but half the country that works for the living is going to be like, why is he always talking? Just stick to policies. And this should be the opening statement. Kamala Harris was part of a conspiracy to mislead the American people that Joe Biden was actually able to run for president. He was actually able to be president. We had a council come out and said that he's unfit to stand trial. And her statement was, I can't keep up with him. So hold her to that. You can't keep up with a man with dementia who can't hold trial. And it doesn't matter. Those are the facts. She's a part of it. Don't engage. Stay back. Our new campaign needs to be, shh, that's it. Not make America great. Shh, just wait back and let it play out because there is no honeymoon. It's just they're telling us it's a honeymoon. But no one feels like it's a honeymoon. If it's a honeymoon, then great. Her first rally should be Trump-like. It should be full of all these people excited. 200,000 people, lines along the street.
Tonight with Megan Thee Stallion, it could look like that in Atlanta.
Megan Three Stallion.
Yeah,
there you
Megan
have
Thee
it.
Stallion.
Not three.
We'll see.
Megan V3.
We'll see.
All right.
Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.